Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
Strap yourselves in for the Gaming Hub. With your hosts, Tyler.
You can't handle the truth!
Graham.
The force is strong in this way.
And Steven.
You cannot be serious!
Let's get started.
Alrighty then.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode number 90 of the Gaming Hub. I'm your host, Tyler. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm here with our co-host, as always. Let's start with Graham. Graham, how you doing? What'd you play this week?
Well, I'm doing good. As far as what I played, it's been one of those quieter weeks for me because I've worked a lot of long hours because Mother Nature is angry for some reason and decided to blow down a whole bunch of trees. And I've had to restore electricity to many houses because trees took out some vehicles and some light poles and some services on houses. But I did get some game time in. Basically, only one night I got some serious game time in during the week, and I used that on Far Cry 5.
Nice.
Definitely still enjoying it. I don't know if I'm so enthralled with the story as I was, just because maybe I'm not progressing it fast enough for the story just to keep going. Like, it just seems to be a big delay before I see another cutscene. But yeah, I've been enjoying it. Last weekend, we know it was a long weekend, and I played a whole bunch of Breath of the Wild. I streamed it for some people to view and watch, and I had a really good time with that. But that's basically as much as my gaming got in. When I get just a little bit of hours, because Far Cry requires a substantial amount of time to actually get anywhere in the game, right? So when I feel like I don't have that much time, I basically just waste time playing some Rocket League, which I was actually been doing good. It's one of those moments when you're doing good and you just don't want to give up, right? You're like, one more, one more. And then you lose a couple and you're like, I should have stopped. So I'm getting smarter now at stopping when I start losing. So other than that, yeah, things are good. How are you guys doing?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say that sounds a lot like us with NHL.
Yes.
One more game always was the death of us.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true.
So, before I get to Steve, I'll say, Graham, this weather sucks, man. Like, it's supposed to be spring right now.
It was a blizzard earlier.
Yeah, this is not spring. There's snow coming down. There was last night. And to the point where it, accumulated. That is ridiculous. And Graham lives in Canada, for everybody out there. So, Graham's excited because his team is in the NHL playoffs starting next week, correct?
Woo!
Yeah.
Hell yeah! I'm so excited, man.
Speaking of hockey, we have a fantasy hockey league, and this is a good time to introduce Steve. Steve, it's the championship week for our fantasy hockey league. How are you doing?
Well, I'm not cheating, so there's that. So
no one's cheating.
Playing cheater over here.
Okay.
But I do have some complaints about the weather as well. I had to wear a light hoodie this week. It was 66 degrees all week, so not good. And I'm looking at the weather, and Monday it's supposed to be 91. That's not fun. I'm not happy about that. I'll take my 60s back. I wish it was snowing here. I love the cold. I am not a hot type person. But this is a video game podcast, so let's get back to that.
We're not the Weather Network here.
Well, we could be.
We could.
We're not going. That'd have been a good April Fool's joke. Should have done that. But no, I've been playing some games this week. I had my work off because they were on spring break, so I just had class. So after doing some homework, I'm like, well, I have all this free time to play video games, and I spent most of it playing MLB The Show. For not for some reason, the game's amazing. That's what I've been playing. I meant to play more Ni no Kuni. I've had blast that. I streamed that today. That's fun. But yeah, MLB The Show's been most of the time. As far as Far Cry 5 goes, I got it. I think I'm going to start over, though, and only play it when I'm not in a party with you, Tyler, because every time I'm in a party with you, you seem to talk exactly when the cutscenes are, so I miss shit all the time.
Fair enough.
I've been playing. It's fun. But I just want to, also kind of get the story, and I feel so lost. Because, like I said, every time, it's either Tyler or Graham saying something. I'm like, damn it.
Yeah. No, I hear
what
you.
about you, Tyler? What you been playing?
I'm good. Just an update for everybody because I did say it's Yahoo Fantasy Hockey League Championship Week. Steve, you're only down by 150 points.
I don't know, but there's only 2 days left.
Yeah. So you're down by 150 points. I mean, you could come back.
Well, I did beat Graham, and the most important thing was I crushed one of our listeners. Thank you for being a loyal listener. But you wanted to brag about, the other day about the Ducks not being in playoff picture. Well, they clinched. Thank you, Chicago, by the way, for beating St. Louis. Mm-hmm. Definitely appreciate that for any Chicago fans. Tyler, thank all your coworkers for me.
I will.
But I beat Dylan, so Dylan, we appreciate you listening. But I'm kind of happy that I beat you, and I'm gonna beat you in baseball again this year too. So
all right, good. So I'm Tyler, one of your hosts, and this week, it's kind of been a weird week. Some busy stuff going on at work, which resulted in me being, the early part of the week I was so just exhausted. I think on Tuesday, I went to bed at like 7 o'clock at night.
Wow.
But man,
that is early.
It's weird, but I felt so much better the rest of the week after doing that. But I did get to play some games. I played some Sea of Thieves, and I wrote a review for that for the XboxHub.com. And head over there and check that out, please. We talked about it a lot on the show, but I got the review done and in. I wanted to make sure, per our discussion on the show a couple weeks ago, I wanted to make sure that review's accurate, and to give a game like this an accurate review, I wanted to put at least 20 hours into the game. So, and experience it all the different ways. So, playing on a galleon with, 3 or 4 people, or playing solo, or playing with just one other person, to see the experience from all the different ways that you can play, and see the, the total package of the game. So, got that review up, the XboxHub.com, check it out there. I played MLB The Show. Obviously, Steve, I'm loving that game. Having a lot of fun with it. Yeah. And I still have yet to break open Far Cry 5, but I'm going to do that this weekend. So, looking forward to that as well. You can join our community, everybody, by heading on over to Facebook and joining the Gaming Hub forums. Please do that. If you're listening on Dash Radio, we thank you. If you're not listening on Dash Radio, we play there. It's a digital radio service that has quite a large listener base. We had the honor of being invited there to be part of their gaming channel a few weeks ago, and you can catch us there 5 times a week, starting on every new episode premieres on Sundays at 2 p.m. Pacific time. So check us out there.
Just want to point out, we are on the multiplayer channel.
Yes, the multiplayer channel. The multiplayer channel on Dash Radio. So that's awesome. Great for us. It's been huge, and we've seen, some pretty good engagement from people that have found us there. So that's fantastic. It helps us grow our community and be able to do a lot of cool stuff for you guys. So appreciate that, everybody who's listening on Dash. But if you're listening there and you want to be part of the community, like I said, head on over to Facebook, the Gaming Hub forums. You can follow us on Twitter at TXH Gaming Hub. Same name on Twitch. We do a lot of streaming on Twitch like we're doing right now with the podcast live. And it's just TXH Gaming Hub there. When you're there, you can find our Discord channel, join us there, and take part in the conversation. If you submit questions, Steve, what can happen at the end of every month?
Well, at the end of every month, you are entered into our monthly giveaway.
Yeah.
But there's also special events that go on. Can't forget those.
Nope.
We had the first Fan Fest like a month ago.
Yep.
And you never know when it's going to come. And you get your questions in, and you can ask as many questions as you want, and you're entered to win, and there's a bunch of giveaways. Mm-hmm. So you never know when those are coming. So, join our groups so you can find out when they're going to happen, because we're not going to announce it. It's just going to happen.
And the cool thing about our groups, too, is that, we try to be a positive community, right? And not have the trolls, and not have, the people that ruin the experience for others as part of it. And what's cool about that is that, if you join, you can find other people to play games with, meet new people, have a good experience. A new, Sea of Thieves just came out. That's a game that's awesome to play with a crew of 4. So join our community, ask, people looking to play, and you'll find people that want to play and jump in and have that experience. So head on over, join us all the way so there. And in our show notes, if you're listening on iTunes or CastBox or whatever you listen to shows on, you'll find all that information, all those links in the show notes at the bottom of the episode details. So with that, everybody, let's head into news for the week.
In the news.
And let's start with Xbox. So if you watched last month, Xbox had their premiere episode of Inside Xbox. And they spent a lot of time talking about Sea of Thieves. There's some interviews with Rare, showing off some of the stuff that'd be going on in the game. Well, they're coming with their second episode this coming Tuesday. So Tuesday, April 10th at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And they're promising a huge update on backwards compatibility during the episode, and they say it's going to actually lead off the episode. So we're going to be watching that. We'll be reporting on it on next week's episode. But check it out. They stream it on Mixer, they stream it on Twitch, and right on the Xbox Interactive app, right on the console. So check it out any of those three ways, and you'll be able to get all the latest stuff. Yeah, go ahead, Graham.
Do we have any speculation what this backwards compatible? Like, do you think it's just going to be a whole lot of more games that will be announced? And is there any games that you would really like for them to announce, or ones that you think they might announce?
What I've seen so far is that it's mostly going to be tied to the OG Xbox, right? That we're not going to see much from 360. It's going to be tied back to that original console.
Okay.
With this announcement. As far as what games from there I'd like to see, man, I don't know. There was a period where I didn't play too many games, and I had the original Xbox, but I kind of got out of gaming for a little bit and then got back into it with the launch of the 360. So I can't tell you that there's a lot of titles that I'm just dying for, but I know there's stuff that I've never played that's awesome.
Yeah.
That I'd love to get my hands on. I
completely missed out on the original Xbox experience and stuff like that. So I don't know if there's a game out there that if it gets released for backwards compatible that you guys will be like, oh, Graham, you got to try this game. So how about you, Steven? Is there a game that sticks out to you, or a game that you would recommend or would like to see?
Well, I mean, first off, I think, my money would be on them adding achievements to the original Xbox games. I feel like that's the easiest way to just create hype, because people like achievements, and I feel like that's probably the least difficult thing to do, but I could be wrong. I'm no expert, I can't program like Nintendo's voice chat in 30 minutes, I'm not that good, so I don't know what it takes. But achievements would be great. Off the top of my head, though, I can't think of any game that's not already out that I want to replay. I mean, I have Sid Meier's Pirates. That's an amazing game. Yeah. The only other game that I really loved on the original Xbox, besides the Halo games, were the what was it called? Indigo Prophecy, also known as Fahrenheit for our European listeners. That was an amazing game, kind of like the same thing as Heavy Rain for those of you who played on PS4. It's a mostly story game with like quick time events, and then you make choices. And I had a blast playing it. It was like a cool little, supernatural murder mystery type game, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And it was really fun, and I'd be interested in replaying it. But there's no other games off the top of my head that I think that like I need, because the original Xbox was a long time ago.
Yeah,
it is, and there's some cool stuff there.
Yeah,
but Steve, that's a really good call on achievements. I didn't even think of that, but I think that'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And it would make me go back and start playing some of those games that I've never played before.
Yes.
Okay, so I have one more question regarding this.
Sure.
Because I can ask questions. Have any of you guys played any of these original Xbox games on the Xbox One?
Yeah.
And,
I have not yet.
And they've crossed over really good, and you can't tell wow, this game's not aged very, very well at all.
Well, Sid Meier's Pirates, it's not in 4K, but it's still the best pirate game ever made.
Yeah.
And
so have you tried other titles besides that? Because that's kind of a different. Have you tried Knights of the Old Republic? I'm wondering how that plays over on Xbox One.
Oh, that's a good question. Now that you say that, though, Knights of the Old Republic 2 would be an amazing game that I'd love to see them announce, because I actually like the second one better than the first. But I have not played the first one. I have seen my buddy play Prince of Persia on the original Xbox, like on the Xbox One from the original Xbox, and it's dated. Graphics were dated. Like, let's be real. You're not going to look at 4K like type games, but the gameplay seems smooth enough, and there wasn't anything glaringly like dated with the mechanics of the game, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Graham, think about when we played, like, Halo Combat Evolved, the very first one, right? On Master Chief Collection, you use the select button to go back and forth between the graphics.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what games looked like then.
Yeah.
And it looked so amazing at the time, right? Like, I remember seeing stuff and being like, it looks so real.
Yeah.
And now we're
crazy,
like,
though, eh?
Now it's really real.
Yeah, now we're like, oh god, that's dated, But I mean, I think those games are more about the experience than the graphics, and that's the real test for a game, right? Whether or not it can stand that test of time and still have a great story and a great experience despite having outdated graphics. Because no matter what, you release any game and then give it 10 years, it's going to be outdated in terms of how it looks. But how it performs and the story it tells can always be great.
Yes. And that's right. Like, a lot of the games now seem to be focusing on graphics over gameplay. And to me, I'll always be the one to fight that. I prefer, like, even 8-bit games, if they have a good, like, gameplay, I'll play them. I don't need 4K graphics. I was just saying that about Ni no Kuni to you guys earlier.
Yeah.
It's like cartoony, but I like that, but the gameplay is so much fun. And if the gameplay is fun, that makes me want to play it 10 years from now. And I don't care about... I don't care currently about graphics. I know there's a lot of people that are like, 60 frames at 4K. I mean, that's great, but if the gameplay sucks, I don't want to play it.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Well, the frame rate affects gameplay, though, right? So if you have a multiplayer shooter, like 60 frames a second is pretty important. If you can do it, it definitely improves the experience. I think, but I get what you're saying, because one game we've talked about, Steve, is Battlefield Hardline, which graphically, in terms of, well, maybe not graphically, but resolution-wise, was a disappointment. That game came out in, 900p resolution on the Xbox One, but I thought it was one of the best campaigns, and we both talked about how we enjoyed the multiplayer in it.
Loved the multiplayer, and loved it more than the original Battlefield, or like the mainline, like 1, 2, 3, 4 Battlefield games. And that partially has to do with that I had a good group of friends that we played with regularly, that we had so much fun. But I love it was like Rainbow Six Siege. That's why I like that game too. It's hostage rescue as opposed to big battles with tanks and planes and shit. I never liked that. So it's personal preference, but I really did enjoy Battlefield Hardline's multiplayer.
Sure. All right, cool. So Graham, everybody listening to us, if you're listening to us for the first time, Graham is our resident Nintendo apologist, fanboy, and Bobo.
I've been called worse. I'm happy with being called that. Sure, call me that.
He's on the payroll, we think. We're not sure.
Probably.
Not making much, though. We'll put it that way.
But, or at least he thinks he's on the payroll. He acts like he is. So, Graham, Firewatch is coming out for the Switch this year. No concrete release date yet, but it's coming out later this year. Is this a game you're going to get?
I'm going to say yes, right off the hop, because there's been times that I've almost bought it for... I think it was Xbox One. I read the reviews. I looked it up. It seemed like a really compelling and interesting game. But I have had other games probably that I thought of over it or something like that. For some reason, I did not make the plunge. But with it being announced for Nintendo Switch, I'm pretty right at this moment, I'm going to say yes, I'm going to get it. Now, my mind might change from here to then, because depending on when it's being released and what is out at the time, but I can see me picking this up, and I think it will work good as a Nintendo Switch game.
Okay.
So, yes, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I don't know if you guys played it on any of the other systems or know much about it.
I know I know the feedback on it's been pretty good. Steve, what's your experience with it?
So, when I bought my new computer, because I had a laptop and then I bought a gaming desktop, and this was the first game like I bought to take advantage of the amazing 960 GTX I had at the time. Now I have the 1070, so it's much better. But it came out and I had just updated, so I played it. It's a 2.5 hour campaign, and I quite enjoyed it. But I don't think if I would have stopped in my gaming session, I don't know if I would have gone back. I played it straight through 2.5 hours, and I do recommend playing it that way. I think it's almost movie-ish in the sense that it is. It's a lot like a movie that you're
it's
just
very story-driven, right?
Yeah, and there's not a lot of reasons to explore. There's not a lot of places to explore. It's just it's a fun little story. It's like you get lost in a cool little world for 2 hours, and there's no problem with that. I mean, a lot of people complained about the $20 price tag, but I could see you enjoying it on the Switch. To me, I feel like it was a game that I liked, that I played for 2 straight hours, and I don't think if I would have stopped, I don't know if I would have gone back and finished it.
Yeah, and with it being a 2-hour game, like, I don't see me splitting that up into sessions, so I would definitely play that straight through. And like I said, that type of game is probably a game just sucks you in, and like before you know it, you're done, and you just keep going. So yeah, I can see me just blowing through this in one session. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this. And the fact now that I know that's that short of a game, then I'll pick it up for sure, because who am I kidding? I got 2 hours to waste at any point given. Even if it's at 1 a.m, I still got 2 hours that I can waste.
Yeah. Well, it's a good story though. It's a good story, so you're not going to regret it.
Yeah.
Just make sure you break off into, like, instead of watching a movie, play the game. That's the type of situation you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, don't let the length of a game make you think that the game's not going to be very good.
Yeah.
Because remember, like, a little over a year ago, right now, or pretty much a year ago, I think, we were all raving about this game called Late Shift.
Yes.
That really isn't that long of an experience. It's like an hour and a half to 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Playing it. But
I was saying maybe even shorter.
Maybe even shorter.
It depends on your decisions.
I think I played it 3 times in a row, like all in one session.
And we were all raving about that game, and it was fun, and it was original, and that was the key thing.
Yeah.
And so it was super original. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, actually, now that you reminded me, now's the time. I had forgotten a lot of the stories, so now's the time I can go back and play it and try to
Yeah, good call.
Because I didn't want to play it back to back like Graham. I thought that was insane when he told me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm gonna give it a little bit, and it's been almost a year, if not a year. And so yeah, now's the perfect time to go back and play that game a second time. So thank you actually for bringing that up.
Yeah, I might do that this weekend too. So
right. Do you know what decisions you made though? Like, what's the chance of you going through it and doing the exact same thing that you did before?
Probably improbable, but I mean, it's possible. Yeah. I think it's like I could tell what the ending or where the story was going based on the one I had. So I might look up how to get to the ending I wanted, because I mean, I've already played it once, so I did my decision. I chose everything I would do. Yeah. And so now it's like I'm gonna choose the decisions I'm not gonna do, because I don't want to like play the same thing over and over again.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not an achievement whore, but I'm kind of an achievement whore, and like, if I'm gonna spend 2 hours, I don't want to not get any achievements because I do the same thing over and over again. So
yeah, and there's 7 different endings to the game, so I think I've unlocked 3 of them to this point.
Yeah, same here.
And I think some of them are just like a tiny little thing over the course of the story where you choose one way versus another, and it might not even seem like a huge decision, but it ends up being. Because I've gone different directions on the obvious big decisions, but not on the tiny ones so much. So, yeah, I think I might jump back into that this weekend, too. That's fun.
I mean, yeah, I have a question then, since we've been talking about Firewatch, and I know Graham played Until Dawn not too long ago, and I did, too. Do you guys like those types of games? Indigo Prophecy is exactly that type of game. I love the story-driven, almost more than I like even your Far Cry's. Like, I have fun blowing shit up, but I really like the story-driven. You just kind of engrossed in the story, and I almost wish that's what The Last of Us was. If The Last of Us was more of that type, I would have loved that game more than I did.
Yeah, I think some games, like, they focus too much on making it explosion-y and action, and like they're like, well, people don't want to watch this stuff. So I don't know. It's kind of a double-edged sword. Some people don't like it. Some people like it. So, but like, I don't want every game to do this. So it's nice to have like your spurts of that type of game and this type of game to give us variety. So I'm okay. Like, I'm not gonna force it. If it comes out, then I'll happily play it and stuff like that. But I'm not gonna say like I wish Far Cry was that type of game or something like that, because then it takes away from what Far Cry has to offer, and for the people like that type of game. So if they just like completely switched up, it's like, okay, now Far Cry is just gonna be more story driven and stuff like that, and not as much that. Well, then you're gonna like probably upset like your diehards and stuff like that. So I think certain games warrant that type, and other games, let them stick to their formula. If it works, then let them stick to it.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't saying change Far Cry. I was just saying I like those types of games. And The Last of Us, I don't know how long the actual story was, but if I heard the story was really good, but the gameplay was what threw me off. And, you know, in games with a really good story, I'd almost prefer it be told in the Firewatch fashion, or the Until Dawn was amazing. I loved that game.
Until Dawn was good.
Yeah, that like 6 to 8 hour campaign, but it was mostly choices. That's the type of game I want. And I think The Last of Us might have honestly been a little better suited off going that way. Personal opinion, though, you know, you can feel free to disagree. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I understand that Last of Us is like one of the best PlayStation games of all time. And I get that. It's just not my cup of tea for the way the gameplay was.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm with you, Steve. Not on the Last of Us part. That's a different deal, right? That game is considered like the masterpiece of last generation.
Yeah.
And probably for really good reason, right? But I'm with you on these types of games. I love games that are story driven, and you don't always feel like you have to be doing something epic, you know?
Yes.
And that's kind of cool. I like games like that. They're great games to kind of take a break with, so to speak, like away from your Call of Duties of the world and your Halos and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, like your Telltale titles are like that.
Yeah,
as well.
but I was gonna say,
like
Graham, I was gonna say, like, it's weird because I like the types of games that Steve mentioned, and I also like what you might call your walking simulators, like Gone Home.
Yep.
I really, really liked Layers of Fear. I thought that game was fantastic. But Telltale games get old for me really quick.
I agree. Except for The Wolf Among Us, that was the only one that did it, and that was because it was an original story, I think. I actually, that, and I love Disney, and that was there was a lot of overlap because it was the Grimm, like the Brothers Grimm story, or whatever the Grimm fairy tales. And that's why I think I liked it so much. But yeah, I agree. The other ones aren't, like, I get through one or two chapters or episodes or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's absolutely no way I could sit down and play an entire, like, chapters 1 through 5 in one sitting. I can't do it.
Each chapter's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's true. But even if they weren't, I don't think I could. And Batman is my favorite superhero, like, by a mile. And I still haven't finished the Batman Telltale. Like, so there's 2 seasons now, right?
Yeah.
I haven't finished season 1 yet. I don't think I've gotten to, like, the 3rd episode of season 1.
I just got as far as downloading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about as far as I got.
I finished Walking Dead season 1, which actually was very good. It was really good.
That was the farthest that wasn't the Grimm. I think I made it 3 or 4 episodes. I almost should have finished it.
And
there's going to be a season 3 too, I heard.
Yeah, and it's going to wrap up like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they already have the spin-off with Michonne, right?
Right.
Yeah, Michonne.
But the ending of Walking Dead season 1 was really good stuff in video games.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I like Clementine. She was amazing. Like, I cared about her.
Yep. So, but they do it really well, but it's become, and I think it's too much too fast. I think that's what happened with Telltale. because they hit on something with Walking Dead, right? And then all of a sudden it's Game of Thrones, and it's
no, I think The Wolf Among Us was the second, and I think that's why it was so good.
Yeah, Wolf Among Us was. I think you're right, but then we saw Game of Thrones, and then we saw the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? And then what's the other stuff we've seen? We saw Batman. We saw a bunch of other stuff. Walking Dead season 2.
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future was way before all that, though. That's an older game.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
thought I went Walking Dead 1, Wolf Among Us, and then Walking Dead 2, but I could be wrong.
No, I think you're right. But I think Back to the Future was before all of them.
I don't think
it's an older game. Look it up real quick.
Can we get somebody to look that up?
I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Anybody.
And,
all right, well, continue talking while I look it up.
But those types of games, like, they're fun and they're okay, but I don't want as much point and click. Like, Layers of Fear wasn't point and click. Layers of Fear was extremely story driven. And, like, if you like horror games, scary games, you like being, spooked and stuff that messes with your head, not necessarily so many of the jump scares, but more of that, like, psychological horror type stuff, that's an awesome game. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Layers of Fear, eh?
Yeah, I gotta check that out. It was a free Games with Gold.
It's on Game Pass right now.
And that, too. You're right, Tyler. Back to the Future was before all of them.
Yep, I thought so.
Oh, I forgot they did the Monkey Island, or Tales of Monkey Island.
Yep.
There's a lot of games. Okay, all right. Yeah, The Walking Dead and Wolf Among Us were great, and then it just kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah. So, anyway, Firewatch is coming to the Switch later this year. So, another game coming out this fall is one that we're all super looking forward to, and that is Spider-Man. And it got an official release date this week of September 7th. The game is going to include unlockable costumes, but absolutely zero microtransactions. Graham, you watched the trailer right before we went live just to see it again. So,
Tyler, right at this moment, I am watching it on my TV.
All right, so tell me, what are you thinking?
It looks amazing. It looks so fluid. The combat looks amazing. They incorporate his web slinging, and they have like proximity web thing. I don't even know. It's so cool. But like the action scenes, it's got where I forget what you call it now, but where you have the push button at certain time.
Quick time events.
Yes.
QTEs.
Events. Yeah, or QTEs. But yeah, no, it looks super cool. The traversing around the city, like. It looks like you can attach your web to any kind of structure, and there's like certain things. So I'm like, when this is on the PS4 Pro, like I couldn't just imagine how well this will look and like perform. Like the game looks stunningly gorgeous, and yeah, no, I'm so excited. I'm watching it. It just looks amazing.
Yeah, like, and the only place you can get this game is on the PlayStation 4, and man, I think, a couple things. So, first of all, I'm so hyped for this game because it's Insomniac doing it. They've got experience with this type of movement and momentum throughout a city when they did Sunset Overdrive. And that was so seamless and fun, and it was great. And I have no doubt this game's going to be fantastic. The combat that we saw last year at E3 reminded me a lot of the Batman series that was done through Warner Brothers, with Arkham City, Arkham Asylum, and then Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
And I'm so hyped to see what they can do putting kind of those two things together, hopefully. And I think this is a console seller for the PlayStation. And, Xbox doesn't have anything like this right now. And I think it's like a double kind of kick in the nuts, Steve, for Xbox, because not only is PlayStation getting a fantastic game that's exclusive to their console, not the only one they're getting this year, by the way, because God of War's right around the corner for us.
And that is literally a console seller because they have God of War Edition that people, including me and Steven, and myself, are getting.
Right. But, Steve, the other reason I think it's like kind of a kick in the nuts for Microsoft here, they had every opportunity to greenlight Insomniac to do Sunset Overdrive 2, and they didn't. They chose not to, and now Insomniac's developing this game that, by all accounts, looks freaking amazing, exclusively for PlayStation.
This is huge for Sony and for Insomniac. it's Spider-Man. Who doesn't love Spider-Man? And you get to sling around the city. Shit, half the fun of games like I don't know if you guys ever played Prototype or Infamous if you were a PlayStation 3 holder. Those games you got to traverse like extremely quick and just run around a giant, basically New York, and run up buildings and then
cross power lines.
Yeah, and you got to traverse really fast. I like traversing really fast, and if it has the combat of Batman, that's even better. And this game, by all accounts, does look great. And like you said, Graham, I do have the God of War PS4 Pro edition, and it looks great. But I'm gonna be a little upset if Spider-Man has his own limited edition PS4 Pro, and I might have to double up like you, Graham, and buy a second PS4 Pro because I like Spider-Man a lot, and I can already picture amazing looking consoles if they did a PS4 Pro. And then back on what you were saying, Tyler, is I definitely agree. There would not be a Spider-Man game if Microsoft, or at least not by Insomniac, if Microsoft had greenlit a Sunset Overdrive 2, because they'd be working on that. Yep. Well, assuming they're not a big studio with multiple teams. But yeah, Microsoft fucked up here, really. Like, they would never have gotten Spider-Man because Spider-Man's owned by Sony. But they could have had a superhero-type game made by Insomniac, even if they didn't want Insomniac doing Sunset Overdrive 2 yet. And Xbox users also fucked themselves over by not supporting Sunset Overdrive. Because it was an amazing game, and I don't know what people hated about it, but I know there's a lot of people that just immediately wrote it off because of the artwork, the humor in it, or what have you. That was a fun game, and it didn't come out in the best console window, but it was an exclusive. And honestly, I don't want to blame Xbox users because there's Microsoft also fucked up a lot here, but if you have to kind of support, if you like playing on Xbox, you have to support the games that come out on Xbox.
Especially if they're good.
Yeah.
You can blame me because I didn't buy it. I had no desire to buy it, and I've never played it.
Graham, we've talked about this, man, on the show. This game is on Game Pass right now, right? Like, it
was games with gold like 3 months ago. Did you not download it?
I might have it. I might have access to it, but there's nothing that appealed to me to want to play it at the time.
Why?
And it didn't. Nothing stood out. I'm like, I want to play this.
Graham, there's so much that stands out in this game. Oh my God. Sunset is fantastic. And
pop culture references galore, dude.
Yes. I think Sunset Overdrive is by far the biggest injustice of this current generation.
Yep. It was the best. It's the best Xbox game to come out that was not Halo.
And here's the thing, Microsoft, outside of when they chose to launch the game, which was terrible.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yes.
They supported the shit out of Sunset Overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
It got the white Xbox One, right?
Yes.
That was that bundle. I remember, at E3 that year that it came out, they pulled up to E3 with, a bus or something, Sunset Overdrive themed. The head guy in Insomniac came out, got a lot of time on stage talking about the game. They supported this game hardcore, and fans didn't buy it. And, it kind of goes to my point about Sea of Thieves a couple weeks ago. Everybody says they want new and different and original, and then they get it and they shit on it, and they don't buy it because it's not what they know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the devil you know is greater than the one you don't.
Yep.
I mean, it's not true in this case. Sunset was great.
Man, I would kill for Sunset 2. If they announced Sunset 2, man, it'd be hard for me to say that I wouldn't be looking forward to that more than Red Dead 2 this year.
Oh, that's not hard. I mean, I'm looking forward to Red Dead 2 more than Sunset 2. But yeah, Sunset 2 would be the biggest Xbox game I'd be looking forward to.
But I'm going to tell you though, Steve, I had a great time with the first Red Dead. I had an absolute blast with Sunset Overdrive, and I was actually bummed out when that game was over. When I had done everything. Because I did every side quest, I did the entire story, I did absolutely everything there was to do, except I think I missed a few of the shoes that are hanging from the electrical wires,
mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. I missed a few of those. And then the toilet paper or whatever that you collect as you go around the city. But as far as like every single main story mission and every single side quest, did them all. Every last one.
I would have if I didn't run into a glitch about 75% of the way through that wouldn't let me do a side quest. And that really bugged me because up to that point I had done what you did, every single mission, every single side quest. And the fact that it kept glitching out, and fact that it was a fun mission too, made it even fucking more annoying, and then I just stopped playing. Yep. And I tried to restart, and then there's just too much shit at that point. But yes, I'd kill for a second game. Yeah. Kill for one. And you know what? Maybe Spider-Man 2 will be, or Spider-Man on the PS4 will be our, you know, spiritual successor, depending on how they. I hope so. They do it.
And obviously it'll be a different feel of a game, right? But still, Insomniac's going to bring their type of humor to that game with Spider-Man. And you mentioned, like, during the loading screens, it's Spider-Man, like, on the train looking at his phone, right? Or on the subway.
Yeah, if you fast travel, that's what it is.
Yeah, fast travel, that's what it is, sorry.
Fast travel, you fast travel using the subway, and it's just Spider-Man on the subway, which is fucking hilarious to me. And, like, that's, you know, I'm probably not going to fast travel very often because slinging webs and, you know, flying around the city is so much fun, or I assume. To me, it sounds super fun. I used to do that in Just Cause all the time with the grapple and parachute system, so I'm not worried about having fun in this game. And I will absolutely be buying this game. I didn't pre-order the collector's edition because I don't like those little... It's just clutter to me. But a console, I'd honestly think about buying.
Yeah, I can't say I wouldn't with that, depending on what it looks like. But, man, the God of War one, I'm a little jealous, you guys. I have no need for another PlayStation right now. So I'm not getting it. But, man, that God of War console looks awesome.
Yep.
It looks fantastic. And I will say PlayStation, like, they beat Xbox in exclusives right now. They also beat them in special edition consoles. Like, the only thing I saw was there was a special, like, super special Sea of Thieves Xbox One that, like, Xbox Netherlands gave to Rare on launch day. We posted it in Facebook and I think on Twitter. And, man, that looks awesome. Like, I would kill for that. But outside of that, like, PlayStation does a better job with their consoles. And the last Xbox console that was awesome for me was the Star Wars themed one that looked like R2-D2 with the Xbox 360.
Yeah.
I know the one you're talking about.
Yep. And then the C-3PO controller, right? The controller was gold, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that was awesome. Like, I wish I had that. But the PlayStation does PlayStation does a really good job putting out consoles that are, you know, special themes. So I have no doubt that's going to sell really well. But, yeah, again, Spider-Man, we've been looking forward to this since we very first heard of it. Official release date finally is September 7th. Insomniac's pretty good about getting games on time, and so is Sony, for that matter. So I anticipate this will launch September 7th, and we'll have something to play, you know, for a good month and a half before we get our hands on Red Dead. So looking forward to that, and no microtransactions again. And it's funny to me, by the way, that every game now has to like mention that they don't have microtransactions.
I noticed that too. They all make a point, eh? And no microtransactions.
Yep. So I just think that's funny.
It's just a bad word. It's just a bad word.
It's a bad word.
And again, it's all EA's fault. Thanks, EA.
Mm-hmm.
But see,
well, they were for sure the straw that broke the camel's back.
You should actually appreciate EA for doing this, because now all these games are not trying to take your money because they know the backlash. So EA took the bullet for everyone else. So everyone should be thanking EA.
I get what you're saying. I don't appreciate it.
I don't want to look at it that way.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't want to look at it that way because Star Wars is near and dear to me. Yeah. And to see that game be partially ruined because of that really sucked. And also it was partially ruined because it just isn't that great. Like,
yeah, I agree. No, the first Battlefront 2 was amazing.
Yes.
And play that one instead of the second one. And I remember you saying, like, when Battlefront 2 comes out, we're gonna play that a lot. And then it came out and we played it like what, 10 hours, if even.
Maybe.
Like, I beat the campaign, and that was about it, and then played a few multiplayer matches.
And
Done with
it. And poor Graham buys it to play with us, and then, Graham, is it fair to say you're not big into shooters anyway? That at least it's not your favorite.
It's a safe bet.
Especially multiplayer shooters.
Yeah, multiplayer shooters. Still, I wish we had video footage of Graham doing the raid in Destiny 2.
No, you don't. I know Graham doesn't.
No, Graham certainly doesn't.
I didn't enjoy it, to be honest.
Graham, I can't imagine why you did not enjoy that.
Yeah, 5 other people in there didn't enjoy it too much more.
No, they didn't. So, anyway.
We love you, Graham.
We do. We love you.
I don't take no offense to it. I just did not. I tried for you guys.
I know.
Not my thing.
You gave it a good effort. You wanted to like it. I get it. It's okay. But
college try.
Yep. So moving on to a game that Graham does like. Far Cry 5 is the fastest selling iteration in the series so far, having generated 310 million in sales in the first week. And so to put that in perspective, it made more money in its first week than Black Panther made in theaters in its first week. And that's pretty impressive.
Well, there's basically 6-to-1 ratio there with video games to movies because they cost 6 times as much.
Right, so. but people go to movies in droves though, and to be fair, Black Panther is the highest grossing first week Marvel movie ever.
Yeah, no, I'm not denying that. I'm just saying.
I mean, don't be dismissive of it. People go to movies like far, far, far more than they buy video games.
Yeah.
So to gross more money here, I mean, you're in like high territory here. You're in Grand Theft Auto territory and shit like that. Putting up those types of numbers.
And if you're in conversation with GTA, then you are doing something right.
Yeah, but let's be real here. There's no way Far Cry 5 has the sustainability that GTA does.
Well, no, I'm not saying nobody's saying that.
Nothing does.
Well, I'm just saying.
And to prove that point, it's the second highest grossing Ubisoft title ever in terms of like during release week. Number 1 is Graham's favorite game of all time, The Division.
Such a disappointment.
I'm with Graham on this one.
That is.
I am too.
Many times I brought it up. That's the game that I regret the most, or one of those games where you're really hyped for and you buy and you're like, well, this is terrible. Still
not as bad as Brink for me, but it was damn close.
Yeah.
Number 2 on the list.
And this is a game The Division, I was so excited for it, then it came out and it was just like, But one key number here with Far Cry, and this I think shows the trend of where we're going, over 50% of sales for Far Cry 5 are digital.
I was one of them.
Yeah,
me too.
I was too. So that's a big deal. YouTubers and Twitch streamers streamed 55,000 hours of Far Cry 5 in the first week and had over 117 million views. That's big.
Yeah. And now so that's the first week of its launch.
Yeah,
because this game was being streamed like a week before it was launched, I'm pretty sure.
No, it's just first week after launch.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I guess some people get early codes, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, my question, and I don't want to get political here, so try to avoid that, but is it because of the subject matter that this game sold so well? Like, the current climate...
I don't think so.
We're in, and then the subject matter of the game.
I don't think so. I think Far Cry has established itself as an amazing series, and you have your diehards that support it. Like with me, like Fallout as well. Like I will keep buying every Fallout that's ever released, and like Far Cry 3 has been like as one of the greatest games of this series. I'm guessing people probably still like that one better. This one might have sold better, but anyways, they're pretty much in that category. And people are big fans of Far Cry 4, and people of Far Cry Primal, which is a little different. So I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think the fact that it's a Far Cry 5 and it's on the new gen consoles, which have better graphics, more content. So I think that is what that did it. And I'm gonna say too, the trailer that they were showing on TV looked pretty exciting as well. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of those things contribute to it. I don't think what the game was about, because that did not appeal to me whatsoever. Now maybe some other people did, but that's not the reason. And yeah, that's my opinion.
So Graham, I'm with you. I don't think it factored in at all. Maybe for a real small segment of people. But I think a couple things were at play here. One, like Graham said, like you're getting Far Cry on next gen, and it's got more content. I think Ubisoft did a great job marketing this game, between the commercials and the exposure they got it and all the gaming like websites and everything. Plus that little like 30-minute prequel live action thing that they did on Amazon Video was huge. I watched that and it was actually pretty good. The biggest thing though, this game is coming out and it's coming out across all consoles. Well, the important ones anyway, Graham. And
Ouch.
but it's coming out in late March when nothing else was really coming out, normally. And yeah, Sea of Thieves was a week before, but I think different kind of player base, right? This is more of a hardcore gamer type of game.
Yes.
And there's really nothing around it to compete with it in a major, major way. And I think that's why. I think if this game releases in the middle of October, it doesn't put up these numbers. That's my feeling. What do you think, Steve?
Oh, I agree. I mean, if you really think about it, the only other games that came out around it were MLB, which is a niche audience, let's be real. Sports fans who like video games, who also like baseball. Small market. And Ni no Kuni, which is a JRPG. So, yes, Far Cry launched really not fighting anything. And except maybe A Way Out, but even then, wasn't A Way Out only like $30 or $40? I can't even remember at this point.
Yeah, it was not full price. I think it was $30. And
it was strictly 2 players.
Yeah, so it really didn't fight anything. So, yeah, there's a reason this game sold so well. It's a fun game. Sure. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking the game. To me, there's a correlation. Doesn't equal causation, but I feel like it has to do with the subject matter, and you could disagree, and I don't want to get political on this, at least not here.
So is that the reason you got it, Steven?
Again, I don't want to get political, so I'm not going to say.
Okay.
I do love the Far Cry series. I've said Far Cry 3 was one of the best games ever. Boss was an amazing bad guy. Best antagonist that I can think of. So, and I bought Far Cry 4. I really do enjoy the Far Cry series. I like Ubisoft games in general. So, I was going to buy this no matter what. And then, yes, again, I don't want to go political.
Okay.
So, I'm not going.
Enough said.
But, yes, this is a game that I know a lot of people were excited about for different reasons. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. I still think it has more to do with the time frame that it released in. And the fact that it's a major, super AAA title that's really recognizable by a lot of people.
I think it's probably a mix of all three. Mm-hmm. Or, everything that could go well for this game did. The time released in, the content, the name brand, all of that. So, you're hitting they hit the whole market.
Yeah, and I'm surprised, I've said this a few times on the show, I'm surprised that more AAA titles don't move into this window, into that February, March, April window where they can be the only game in town.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it has to do with this idea, this stubbornness that you have to have the status of being a fall release.
Yeah. When did The Witcher 3 release? I think that was February or something, wasn't it?
Yes. I don't know if it was February, but it was during the spring.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. And games that release during the spring are games that are super confident and they know it doesn't matter when they release. People are going to know their name and be interested in the game. But they benefit from being, literally the only game in town during that week.
Yeah. Rise of the Tomb Raider could learn from that.
Oh, yes.
And that wasn't Rise of the Tomb Raider. That was Microsoft. Yeah. That was Microsoft saying we're going to release this game on November 10th, alongside that
Fallout 4,
that up and comer.
Yeah.
Yeah, Microsoft. has done a lot of dumb shit, as already previously established. Witcher 3, by the way, came out May 19th of 2015.
Okay, I thought it was spring. I didn't think it was that early. So, as what Graham was saying. So, yeah, May 19th, yep. Okay. And we say, what, like Steve said about Microsoft, we say it out of love. We love Microsoft. We love Xbox. Just wish they quit doing, like, stupid shit sometimes.
Dumb shit. Then look at Sony. Sony does an amazing job. Horizon, guaranteed it would not have done as well if it came out in the fall window.
Yep.
Just because of what was already around it. I mean, don't get me wrong, Robot Dinosaurs is a cool concept, and like that's fucking awesome. But I still don't think it would have done as well if it came out in the fall against Call of Duty, as opposed to when it came out when it did in February against nothing else.
If you don't think that Sony learned from the Sunset Overdrive debacle and things like that,
yeah, Sony's
you're
smart.
crazy. Oh. Sony learns from that shit. Like, you'll never convince me, and feel free, send your mail at thegaminghub.net before I say this. You'll never convince me that Sony wasn't planning on doing like the licensing for digital media with the PlayStation 4.
No, I agree 100%. 100%.
And when they saw the backlash to the Xbox One, there were some meetings held real fucking quick. And they're all of a sudden they're like, nope, we're not doing that. Yep. We're gonna do this thing where one guy hands another guy a disc and says, this is how you trade games here.
Oh, no, I don't even think there was a meeting, dude. I think it was a contingency. I think Sony was smart enough to have a contingency to be like, if the crowd reacts poorly, then this is what we do.
But remember, though, Steve, that wasn't at E3. That Microsoft revealed all that shit a month earlier. Because they had their reveal on, like, May 20-something.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right. They had a month.
Yeah, no, there were meetings. Like, when the E3 presentation is locked in, and the conspiracy theories about Sony, like, changing shit at the last second, I think are false. I don't think, I think those presentations are locked in, and they're rehearsed, like, a week in advance. They've got those arenas that they're in, like, days in advance, and they rehearse that shit days in a row prior to going live with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that changed, but I think between the Xbox One reveal, which happened in May, and E3 in June in 2013, they changed some stuff. And I think they learned and they adapted and they kicked Microsoft's ass that year. And they deserve to, because you know what? They did everything right.
Yeah, and they've still been doing everything right.
That conference in 2013 for Sony was honestly like magical in the way that the crowd responded. You know, they did. The crowd was just so bought in, and it was very organic in how the emotion played out there. Versus what we see now, where I think a lot of times you'll see the person standing up with like their hands on their head, like about to faint when they announce, like, you know. Final Fantasy VII Remake or something, and it's just because that guy just wants to be on social media somewhere.
Yeah.
But that conference back in 2013 was organic. But anyway, my point, like, they learn from stuff and they adapt to stuff, and Microsoft doesn't seem to learn as fast. And I love Phil Spencer to death. I think he's great. I think he does a fantastic job. But I think Microsoft needs to get a little bit better at learning and adapting to things, because they should have learned from Sunset Overdrive, but then they put out Rise of the Tomb Raider on the same day as Fallout 4.
Yeah, bad choice. I was there at the launch. I went to midnight launch, and at the time I could only afford one, or chose one, and that was Fallout 4. And I'm sure a ton of people there, well, I'm certain a ton of people there just was there for Fallout 4. So, and Rise of Tomb Raider was one of the greatest games I ever played. I was so excited for it. So, that just goes to show, right?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. Like, Rise of Tomb Raider is one of the absolute best games I played this generation. So, all right. Let's move on from there. There's a game coming out that some people might know. But
you might.
Yeah. Spyro.
Extinction.
No. We're in the Spyro Reignited trilogy on September 21st. We're also getting Divinity Original Sin 2, Steve, in August.
My time to shine.
Yep. So we had a question for our community. Nick asked if we're excited for Spyro, so I'm going to extend that question to both, and we'll go to Steve first. Like, your thoughts on both these?
So I never really played Spyro. The only thing I can remember is there was one mission or like land, or I don't even remember how Spyro did it. I never owned it. But you like had a skateboard and you were skateboarding Spyro and you had to collect like whatever the hell you had to collect, just like in every other game of the same type. You had to collect something, but you were doing it on a skateboard, and that's all I remember. For $40, I think it's 40. I'm pretty sure it's 40. I'll probably pick this game up. I mean, it comes out when not a lot of other games are coming out, so can't fall them there. September 21st. Not much else. Just Spider-Man a couple weeks early, but by that point, hopefully I've already beaten it. So I'm excited for that, I guess. I'm not really excited, but I'll get it. But Divinity Original Sin 2 in August, that is my jam. You owe it to yourself to play it. It's a CRPG. It has some amazing dialogue, choices. Your choices actually matter. The gameplay's fun. It's amazing. It's amazing. Can I say amazing one more time? Because it's amazing. Play it. There's no other words. I'm speechless. This game's amazing. I will absolutely be picking it up. I already own it on the PC. I will buy it again on the Xbox. 100% for sure. As soon as it's available, pre-order it. You bet your sweet ass I'm going to pre-order it. Graham.
Okay, you seem really excited for the game. And just pointing it out, excited. If nobody caught on to that. But I've never played a Spyro game. I will not pick it up for the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4. But they did have it up on the official Nintendo website for the Switch. But then they immediately took it down. So for something like that to happen, it seems like it's foreshadowing that it will be released for the Nintendo Switch. So I would probably pick it up for the Nintendo Switch if I do pick it up for anyone. And it is releasing on my birthday, so maybe I'll get it as a birthday gift. Hint, hint. No. But anyways, I'm sure if it does come out on Switch, it's probably not going to come out at that time. It's probably going to be 2 years down the road when people don't want to play it anymore. But yeah, so no, nothing really drives to it. Divinity Original Sin, I don't even know what that game is. Apparently it's amazing. So I might have to look into it and just see what's up and then base my decision on that. So that's my take on it. Tyler?
Well, Spyro I plan on getting for sure. Divinity, can't say. I really don't know enough about it, Steve. I know you're super high in it, amazing. But when you throw out the letters, RPG, I'm like, not sure.
It's like Dungeons and Dragons, but Baldur's Gate mixed into one. If you've played Baldur, it's a top-down RPG, and it's a lot of dice rolls and numbers, and that's probably making it sound negative, but the game's fucking amazing. Like, you have no idea. It brings nostalgia while at the same time bringing high-definition graphics all into one package. Look it up. Watch a video on it. It's so much fun. In fact, wait till the beginning of October to watch videos on it, so you're not hyped for 4 months, because that's just annoying. But yeah, I'll definitely be buying this and making you guys hear me talk about this for like 3 or 4 weeks prior and then after it comes out. So be ready.
I have another game that's coming out.
Oh.
So, yeah. So someone here is a really, really big Harry Potter fan.
Who?
It's not me.
It's not Graham. I like Harry Potter, but I'm not super fanboy to the point that when we were doing like show prep tonight, I wasn't humming the theme song until we were told to stop.
Oh, that's what that was?
I
didn't even know it was.
Much more fun to do that. How much you love it.
So it's Steven, and there is a Harry Potter mobile game coming out April 25th, and some of the characters from the movies are returning to reprise a role and lend their voices to the game.
Yes,
How excited are you for this, Steve?
How excited can one be?
Don't use the word amazing. You've went over your limit.
Hey, guess what, Graham? It's fucking amazing. No, shit, I even forgot to change the slides on the Twitch stream. That's how excited I was for the other game. But, no, I'm excited. I am super duper excited. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be the best ever. No, Maggie Smith is coming back as Professor McGonagall, and that's all I care about, because who cares about the other people when you have Maggie Smith as Professor McGonagall? But it's a mobile game. I hope it turns out well. It kind of looks like if you guys ever played the Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, one of the first video games, it was the first video game about the Harry Potter series to come out. Like, you had to match the wand movements, and it was kind of like, well, it's a mobile game, so I don't know how advanced it's going to be, but I'm going to be playing it, and I hope they don't fuck this up, because this is my jam. I love Harry Potter. I've read all the books, seen all the movies more than 1,700 times. I still quote the movies sometimes, and like Tyler said, I like to hum the theme song. Yeah. So, I'm excited. And it's mobile game, which is kind of frustrating. I would prefer a Harry Potter type Skyrim game, but we can't always get what we want, so I'll take this for now.
Let me ask this question. Let me ask this question to you, and I want to take the discussion this direction. Okay. Because I know Graham's thoughts on Harry Potter, so we're not gonna get into that. He's welcome. Mobile games in general, though, are mobile games video games? What do you think?
Yeah, they're games. Video games, I don't know what warrants calling it an actual video game, but it's definitely a game. It's a mobile game. I don't know if I would call it a video game, but people who say, oh, you waste so much time playing this, but then they're on their phone all the time, it's the same bloody thing. Whether you call it a video game or a game or whatever, basically it's the same kind of thing. So whoever judges people like that, you are the pot calling the kettle black. So that's the way I look at it. But
so I'll say this real quick before you go Steve. The people who say mobile games aren't video games, and this isn't you, Graham, so everybody except Graham, I think are largely people who are either the super stuck up gamer, quote unquote, who are well, if you're not playing, Call of Duty or The Witcher or whatever, then you're not a gamer. Or people that only play mobile games, they play Candy Crush, and they're I don't play video games, I just do this, right? Because they kind of look down on video games. I think mobile games are absolutely video games, and every single study that comes out about video games includes mobile games in the statistics.
Oh, yes.
That's how we say 50-some% of the public has played video games or plays them regularly, because they include Candy Crush and Angry Birds back in the day, and by back in the day I mean 5 years ago, and all those games in that. So, what do you think, Steve? Are they video games? And if they are or aren't, what are some of your favorite mobile games?
All right, so Merriam-Webster describes a video game as an electronic game in which players control images on a video screen. So, by definition, mobile games are, in fact, video games. But even without those definitions, I would say they're video games. They're not AAA titles, but you could argue that some of them make more than AAA titles, or, you could, I guess, try to argue that. I haven't seen the statistics in front of me, but I feel like Candy Crush probably made a shit ton of money back in the day when it was popular.
Okay, sure. I have a statistic for you.
Okay.
Epic has made $15 million in the mobile in-app purchases for Fortnite in less than a month on iOS devices.
That doesn't surprise me.
So they're definitely making money.
Yeah, and Clash of Clans, I remember, not even, it was 2 years ago, maybe 3, was another very popular game that even I spent money on. And I don't know if I ever spent money on Candy Crush, but I feel like I might have, so I apologize for that if that makes me less of a gamer. But I was addicted to it. So yeah, I don't see why they're not video games. They're fun little games, and there's some great ones. I remember one of the best games I played was Infinity Blade on the, I think it was only on Apple. And it was a game where you started out as this character and you tried to fight guys by slashing the screen. But if you died, then your son or your offspring is the next in line. It does the same thing over and over again, and that was like the idea behind the game. But it was a really well run, like produced game with some cool looking graphics at the time on the iPhone. And I had a blast playing it, and then I also had a blast playing Angry Birds. So I don't see why they're not video games. I can't argue against them being video games.
And I'm with you. And to me, like, so console games, computer games, whatever, they're more immersive, and they sink you into the world more. But I find mobile games to be much more addictive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've spent more money on like stupid microtransactions in mobile games than I ever have in anything on console.
Really?
I agree.
Yeah.
Same thing here, probably.
Yep.
Really?
I know.
Actually, you know what? I take that back. So if you take out Ultimate Team and Diamond Dynasty, then that's true. So
actually, no, it's not, because I've spent like $200 on Smite. So yeah,
okay.
I have not spent $200 on mobile games. So yeah,
I haven't spent that much
either. Smite's amazing. I wanted to support him. Sorry, but continue.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, think back to when Graham, like way back to the beginning of the podcast, like single-digit episodes, when we talked about this little known underdog game called Pokemon Go.
Yes. I was probably the definition of obsessed.
That's like the behemoth of mobile games, isn't it? It's like even bigger than Angry Birds and Flappy Bird, which, you know, broke more phones than anything from people throwing them. But Candy Crush, all that type of stuff. But I find that mobile games, for me, aren't... I think they're absolutely video games, because where do you draw the line? Like, Angry Birds was introduced on mobile, right? But then it went to Xbox.
Yeah, it's on console,
So did it become a video game when it did that?
No.
No, it was the whole time.
Yeah, there's just elitists. It's that's the problem. It's the elitists.
Yeah. For me, and I want to ask you guys, like, what kind of mobile games you enjoy. And I'll go ahead first. The ones I enjoy the most are like the turn-based ones. And there's exceptions to that. Like, I love Pokemon Go because Pokemon Go was a shared experience, even though you're playing by yourself. But it was very much a community experience.
Yeah.
Like, it helped
phenomena too.
At work, it brought me, like, closer to people I worked with because everybody was playing it. And, you know, you saw the pictures of, like, a sea of people walking, looking at their phones, trying to catch, you know, whatever. But for me, like, the games I like the most tend to be the turn-based games. So, like, your Words with Friends and your Dice with Buddies and stuff like that. Because
chess.
Yeah, not only are they fun, they're also, you can play at your own pace. So you can step away, you can do a turn and then step away and then check and see if your buddy played and then go back to it or not go back to it depending on how busy you are or whatever. Also, like, those games have allowed me to keep in contact with people that I know, but are living in a different part of the country now or something like that. And it's an easy, fun way to just kind of keep in touch. And still have that connection. And you can do that on Xbox and PlayStation, but it's not as easy.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. What about you guys? What kind of games do you like?
Well, you don't have your Xbox and PlayStation with you at all times, but you do have your phone with you 24/7. At least I do. I do. I don't go anywhere without my phone. To be honest, the only game I have right now is chess because I love chess, and I got a new phone, so I haven't downloaded a lot. But I haven't been playing a lot of mobile games except chess. But yeah, I used to be huge into Words with Friends and Clash of Clans. And I remember I had Clash of Clans, and I was in a clan with a lot of my former, like, army buddies. And that was a good way to talk to them for a while. I just fall out of playing it because I got busy. Yeah. But, yeah, that was how I'm with you. I used to keep in touch playing those games because everyone's on their phone, or everyone has access to their phone almost all the time. Yep. If you own, like, an Xbox or PlayStation, almost guaranteed you have a phone. So,
for sure.
And there's
a
more
smartphone,
people.
Yeah.
So that's the best way to keep in touch. So I'm with you. I like playing. I'm with you. I like playing turn-based games though. Word with Friends over like the I don't need a high action game. I want games I can play for 2 minutes while I have like a little break, and then don't have to play for another 24 hours until the next break I have. I like work, like the 10-minute break. So yeah, that's why I like chess. But what about you, Graham?
What about me? Well, I've really slowed down / stopped playing video games on my phone. One of the biggest ones, besides Pokemon Go, which got me out and running and jogging and hatching eggs and all that fun stuff, the game I played a lot was The Simpsons Tapped Out. I am a massive Simpsons fan, or used to be. I don't watch it like I used to, but I put in countless and countless and countless hours into that game. I had it on my tablet. I played it probably for 5 years strong, and I've just, at one point I'm like, okay, it just demanded too much of my time. I was busy at the time, and I just didn't go back to it because I'm like, if I go there, it's going to consume so much time and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I will go back to it because there's been so many great things that I just missed out on. But I have invested lots of hours and money for that into it. So I might just go back into it at one point just to see my town or see what the updates have offered. But yeah, no, I've spent countless hours, and there's still so many great games. Like there's Boom Beach that I don't know if still support it, but I enjoyed that. And there's Clash of Clans and Battle Royale. There's just tons of content. And like Tyler was saying, it's way to interact with people who don't play like on consoles and stuff like that. Like you could do Words with Friends or Scrabble with friends or whatever back and forth. So it's just a different way, a different video game medium. So it's all one and the same, whether you spend 8 hours to complete one game or you complete a lot of mini games and you play it for 8 hours. So yeah, that's some of my favorites, and that's kind of my opinion on it. So it's definitely huge, though. It's big for the phone market. As phones get better, games will get more in depth and stuff like that. It's not going away. It's just going to get bigger, and there's going to be some more cross play.
So Graham, how about the games though that are like actual kind of like traditional, what we would recognize as a video game, what mainstream would recognize as a video game, but they're on mobile? So you're a huge Nintendo fan.
Yes.
So we had Super Mario Run.
Yes.
And I know when that game came out, you were really excited for it, and then also Fallout Shelter. You were really excited for. Really excited for, if I remember right. Like, how much have you played those games? Do you continue to play those games? Is it something that you look forward to and it's a must-do for you, or what?
Okay, so I do own both of them. Originally, when Fallout Shelter came out, before all the quests and stuff like that, I had it completely maxed out. I had the maximum amount of vault dwellers you could have, which is 200. I don't know if that's changed. So yes, I played so much of it, and I have an iPhone and I have an iPad. I find some games play so much better on the iPad. And a game that I would recommend for anybody who has an iPad too, I don't think it's on other devices, is The Room. They have The Room 1, 2, and 3. And these things are like puzzle games, but you have like Tilt It and you have like it's really cool games. I don't want to spoil, but they're rated as some of the best games out there. So I had Super Mario Run. The game's so much fun and nostalgia, and I played it so much, but I didn't complete it. I definitely put more time into Fallout Shelter. So yeah, like if they release a Zelda mobile game, I'm sure I'd get into that, and I'll spend so much time and probably complete it. But as far as keep playing it and going back to it, and then that's another example, Tyler, of a game that crossed over from mobile to Xbox, because they brought out Fallout Shelter on the Xbox, and I enjoyed playing on that too. But some games warrant to be mobile and stuff like that. And then with size of phones are getting now, and you can sync controllers to them, they're basically portable video game systems.
Would you agree though with that? Sorry, Steve. Would you agree though, Graham, that games that are more story-driven and immersive are better on console or PC, and mobile serves that kind of like time killer type thing, where you can jump in and out at your leisure and play for 2 minutes at a time rather than 2 hours at a time, And it's kind of about, I guess like some of us said, maintaining those connections with people in a really easy and fun way.
Yeah, like I feel like that is the major appeal to it. But a game too, which I didn't really play, was Deus Ex. I think Mankind or something was on the iPad, and I downloaded it, but I didn't try it. So, and that seemed like a full-fledged game on the iPad. So there are little crossovers, stuff like that. But as far as a pure gaming experience, like sit down, like cinematics and huge cutscenes, then you can't compete with like a mobile with a console. But yeah, like for like if you're waiting for an appointment or something like that, like popping out your phone and just playing like some mobile games, that is the ideal situation.
So then based on that, and Steve, I want to throw it to you here and say what you were going to say, but then answer this question too. Like, based on that assumption that mobile games are better for that sort of like 2-minute, 3-minute when you have a break, like you said, how do games like Fortnite and PUBG Mobile fit into the kind of gaming lexicon?
That is a great question. I don't think, based on what we've said, that any of us or of the type that the Fortnite Mobile and PUBG Mobile are going for, I have no interest in playing a shooter on my phone, even if like a battle royale or whatever. I'd prefer Fortnite, I think, over PUBG, based on what I've played of both on the Xbox. But that's not my game. I like the strategy puzzle-y games on my phone. That's what I have my phone for. Like, I don't want to play a AAA game but half-assed down in the phone version. And I know my phone is in... Like, my phone screen is, I think, 4K. I have the Galaxy S9 Plus. I just got it because I broke my phone last week. Mm-hmm. And that was a fun day. But, that it's a 4K screen. And, like, I was also thinking about getting the iPhone X, and I think that's also a 4K screen. But... So it's just, I don't want to play on my phone. I don't. I'll play chess on my phone. I'll play Words with Friends on my phone. I'll play Fire Emblem Heroes. I know Graham's a Nintendo fanboy, but he doesn't even know what Fire Emblem is. No, I'm just kidding. He does. But I'm the Fire Emblem fanboy here. Yes. I like strategy games, and those are suited for the phone. Like Civilization was on the, you can buy that on the iPad. I think it was Civilization Revolution, and then Sid Meier's Pirates, another type of strategy game made by Sid Meier, who made Civilization. Also, you can buy on the iPad, and I've heard great things about those games. Yeah, and those are fun games to play on like an iPad or an iPhone. But I don't think the phone's conducive to a shootery-esque game. I think it's more for strategy or a game you can play for 5 minutes, like Candy Crush, because you can play one round or 2 rounds in 5 minutes, and on your train ride or whatever you have, and or you're sitting on the toilet. To be honest, I'm sure a lot of people play video games or on their phone while sitting on the toilet, and so that's why I prefer it. I prefer those types of games for that situation.
Right, and one other thing I'll say is, like, I don't think we should, and none of us are, but I don't think we should dismiss mobile games because, like, some people do, and they say, well, those aren't games, those aren't real, you're not a real gamer. But a lot of times that is sort of the gateway for people to embrace video games. And they start playing, Candy Crush, or they play whatever, and then they take on something a little more serious, and then a little more serious, and then all of a sudden, they're playing, like, Fortnite. And there's an example I can tell. Like, there's a lady I work with. She's awesome. She is not the average age for a gamer on console, okay? She's not. But she discovered Fortnite because her daughters play it. And she discovered Fortnite on the PlayStation. And, like, all week, she's on vacation right now. All week, she was sending messages like, what do I do? How do I get into this? Like, she didn't know how to use, like, the PlayStation controller has, like, a little PlayStation button at the bottom in the center. How to turn the console on. Things like that. And then she sent a message to, like, a coworker of mine saying, your mission is to figure out a way that I can play Fortnite when I come back to work. Because she's got that hooked on it in a week. And now, all of a sudden, he and I were talking, and we're like, well, there's Fortnite Mobile. Yeah, we've absolutely created a monster. There's no
true.
doubt about this. So her strategy, that's awesome, by the way. Her strategy is she just hides and has a great time. And she finished 4th in a match.
Wow.
No,
My God.
that's a cool story, dude. Like, no joke. That is cool.
And she's now so into it, and she loves it, and she's having a freaking great time with it. And she sends, like, texts and Snapchats about it, like, constantly throughout the day. Like, she's so into this. And that's really cool, because you're taking people that wouldn't normally be gamers, but you're introducing it to them in a way that they wouldn't normally be introduced. And now they're running with it. And they see it as something awesome and positive. So I think that's great. Yeah. But unfortunately, guys, time reasons, we have to wrap up this conversation because we already don't have time for questions tonight. But if you're listening on Dash Radio or anywhere, we're going to do a special episode tomorrow, Saturday. That's going to address all the fan questions. We'll probably talk a couple other things gaming-wise as well. But if you want to see some of the cool giveaways we do in our community and a reason to join the community, listen to that. The only way to listen to that is to subscribe to the show on iTunes or CastBox, whatever it is that you use to listen to shows like this one. The Gaming Hub is what to search for there. But let's jump in really, really quickly to releases and deals before we get out of here.
Now in store.
So for Xbox this week, we've got a few releases, nothing super big, but we've got Extinction coming out on April 10th. You've got Bomb Slinger on the 11th, and then Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice on the 11th as well. Games with Gold on Xbox One, you can pick up The Witness right now, and then second half of the month, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. You can get on the 360, backwards compatible to the Xbox One, Cars 2 right now for the first half of the month, and then in the second half of the month you can pick up Dead Space 2. So that's it for Xbox. Steve, what do you got for PlayStation releases this week?
All right, so on the 10th, you have both Owlboy, a game that did really well on the Switch, and then Call of Duty World War II War Machine, also on the 10th. I assume that's an expansion. As far as PS Plus games go, you got Mad Max and Trackmania Turbo. And then there aren't really any deals for this week, but there are some sales going on in the PlayStation Store. So depending on when you listen, you might have the Telltale series or something new. So, feel free to check those out. And if you're interested in saving some money and buying the new game. Graham, what about the Switch?
Okay, well, as always, the Switch has many titles being released. For this week coming up, we have as well Bomb Slinger, which Tyler just mentioned for Xbox. Well, this game will also be released on the 11th for the Nintendo Switch. And then on the 12th, you have Rogue Aces. And another one, I chose it because of the title, and that is Burly Men at Sea.
That's because of your beard, Graham.
It's just not men at sea, it's Burly Men. It must be the beard. The beard attracted me to it. So Burly Men at Sea on April the 12th.
Yeah. So, Graham, what about the Nintendo Switch Plus games or the deals with gold? Anything there for Nintendo?
So yeah, with your hard-earned money, if you whatever purchase price that they give you, if you match that purchase price, then you will get that said game for free.
Yeah.
Then the correct response is screw your games with gold. Nintendo doesn't need to give free shit.
That's right. Screw games with gold. Nintendo doesn't give away free shit.
But I'm gonna be remiss to say, Twitch, even Twitch has started giving away like 5 free games to Twitch Prime members. So if you have Amazon Prime and you play on the computer, you can go connect your accounts and get some free PC games. And also, you get a free subscription. So
why don't you go play Breath of the Wild then on PC or the Xbox or PlayStation? Oh wait, they don't allow that on those systems.
Is there a Divinity Original Sin 2 on the Switch, Graham? Yeah, I didn't think so.
I think everybody's
all right, guys, we got to get out of here. Love to talk about whatever you're talking about for a while, but like Steve said, if you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime, which means you get a free subscription every single month on Twitch. And if you so choose to support us with that subscription, which is absolutely free to you, it does a lot for us. It helps support our community, helps support our show, and we're able to give away some awesome stuff to people in the community. So if you're down for doing that, go head on over to TXH Gaming Hub on Twitch and subscribe to us there. It really helps support us to get to kind of where we want to go. We have visions where we want to go in the future, and we put that money back into supporting the community with giveaways and things like that. So with that, this has been episode number 90. We're now officially jumping on the countdown to 100, which means we're on the countdown to E3, and which is the best time of year for games. That's pretty awesome. So
I'm excited.
Yeah. For Graham and Steve, I'm Tyler saying thank you so much for joining us for episode 90 of the Gaming Hub. We'll be back next tomorrow, Saturday.
Yes.
With episode 91, and next week, a week from now, with episode 92. And until then, everybody, have a great week. Play some awesome games. Take part in our community. We'd really appreciate it. And it's a lot of fun. So, for these guys, I say thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you soon.
Happy mobile gaming, everyone.
Yes, enjoy.